Okay, so Be'ezras Hashem, just to point out a certain bewildering point about Chuva and to draw insight from two of the great luminaries of Metzius, Rabbi Nachman of Breslov and the Alter Rebbe of Chabad, to unify these two elements, the Sari Alafim and the Sari Meos, to unify the mind and the heart, to show how both are breathing the same air into us of Chuva. When we look at the concept of tshuva as a rectification of past broken things or sins or transgressions or falls that we've experienced, then tshuva is there as an in case of emergency break the glass situation that helps us pull ourselves out of darkness, to fix that which was broken, to cleanse ourselves of the blemish, to purify ourselves of the inequity. Seen as such, tshuva is relegated to those who have fallen, those who have broken, those who have descended down. And having come back with an openness of spirit and a vulnerability of spirit, they want to return back to the place that they had fallen from. So, seen as such, Chuva is an instrument. It's an instrument there to help people who have fallen and gotten stuck. And the miracle of Chuva is that Hashem wants us to climb back up again. It's a fixing of broken things. But again, this perspective of Chuva reveals and perpetually keeps Chuva within the wavelength of those who have fallen. And when we're thinking about those who have fallen, we also have to consider the shame and the attachments that we give to those concepts. And it brings with it a whole complex of how we approach tshuva. Because tshuva is for fixing broken parts of myself. And although I don't want to admit to the brokenness of myself, I need to fix myself. So tshuva demands an acknowledgement of a brokenness, a tzabrachenkite, an acknowledgement of the distance, and only in order to bring me closer. But tshuva is there to bring me back up to a place that I've fallen from. And therefore, tshuva is relegated to certain neshamos that know what distance tastes like, that know the bitterness of distance, that know the pain of distance, that know the treacherous routes of descending down, down, down into the lower realms of existence in order to clarify the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now, seen as such, tshuva represents a fundamental process. The entire reality is built upon the misas hamalachim, the shviras hakelim, where there was light that was above and it broke and it shattered and it fell and it died and it descended and it got lodged and it got stuck and it got lost. And neshamos have to go down into the mud of Bria Yitzira Nasiya, of Machshava Dibor Maisa, that gets all twisted around in all of the symptomology of being human in this world. And by descending down into the brokenness, we go through the process of the birurim, of the shattered vessels, and we elevate those vessels. So, seen as such, tshuva is the descent down, going into the depths of the depths and cleansing what needs to be cleansed, getting ourselves dirty, Rahman al in the process. But then tshuva is there to fix us. And so, seen as such, that would be a valid and a fundamental principle of tshuva, to fix broken things. But the Heilige Rebbe Reb Zusha says as follows, and the Rebbe Shlita brought this down last week. The Heilige Zusha says as follows, that in truth, there are a lot of people who want to go down into the mud to cleanse the stones of the mud and the filth and to clean those stones up. To be mavari birurim, to go down into the nether territories of experience and to go into that place where I need to learn how to get back up again, which is the secret of tshuva, from within my tzebrachenkite, from within the darkness. But the Rebbe Reb Zusha said that's not for us necessarily. A person doesn't have to choose to be a neshama that goes down to cleanse those stones, because there's another work of birurim, which is preparing stones for the crown of the king, of making takshitim, of taking stones that are already clean and making them even better, an odio tertov, of clarifying something that's already clarified, but revealing that it could always be more and more clarified, not because the previous stage of clarification was broken, but because in relationship to the next stage of clarification, the previous stage represents that we haven't even started. This process of birurim is not about getting stuck in the mud of experience. It's not about descending down into the nether territories of mind, feeling, or experience where we feel distant from God. And from within that pain of the mima'amakim, I cry out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in that first model of tshuva. This type of fixing is less about yegia, more about menucha. Amanchil menucha la'am Yisrael, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends forth menucha. He wants us to be in a state of menucha. Ve'ar menucha kitov, and we gave it over to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and Hashem wants to return it back to us. And the process of birurim, about going down into the nether territories of darkness and getting stuck in the darkness and getting our minds twisted and turned and confused by all of the concealment and the ha'alama. There's a derech hamelech that looks directly towards the end goal, which is the tachlis, which is toiv hametiv, which is the fact that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to bestow goodness upon us, and that goodness has to be revealed in a goodness that is easy and calm and beautiful and not dark and not shavur and not sabrachenkeit, but rather a joyous connection to God and a humble openness towards experience that's not rooted in needing to fix some broken thing, but rather rooted in the fact that in relationship to you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I simply understand that any movement of growth is going to pale in comparison with the true level of infinitude that's available to me in the next moment, not because I'm not good enough, but because you're so good. And any level of goodness that I feel that I've claimed with you is only revealed in the next moment to have been the edge of the next level of goodness. Now, this desire to grow is not rooted in a stuckness. It's not rooted in a severe form of strangulation of the spirit that feels that if I don't get better, I'm going to die, etc., etc. But rather, it operates from a place of a calmness of the spirit. Once a person has chosen a path of Shabbos, a path of calmness, they can say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, yes, Avad, I'm going to fix the things in my life that need to be fixed, but the main Nakuda of Tshuva, the main thing that I want to return to is that perpetual recognition that I want to come closer to you each and every second. Odio ter tov, odio ter tov. Every ounce of Hasagas Hashem is tov. It's the tov haganuz, becoming aware of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's goodness, becoming aware of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's presence, affirming HaKadosh Baruch Hu's presence, confirming the presence of God beyond reasonable proof, but deeply embedded within that indivisibility of the Nakuda Hapnimis of Emuna that knows no restriction whatsoever, that goodness of the spirit, that Nefesh Kitov, that goodness that is revealed at every fabric of existence. That's what motivates me to want to climb higher and higher, to reveal more and more Eino in Milvado, Eino in Milvado. And in relationship to the next level of Eino in Milvado, my previous conception of Eino in Milvado is considered as if it was a lower level because Odio Ter Tov ad infinitum. There's never an end. So there's two paths of tshuva. There's the attempt to grow out of stuckness, out of chisaron, out of deficiency, out of the symptomology of what it means to be a human being thrown into the existential quandaries of this world that very often feels like Gehenna, which is a mima amakim, and it provides a deeply profound and potent form of tshuva, like Rav Elazar ben Dordayev, who yatsa nishmaso be'echad, that in that place a person has the ability of running all the way up for those neshamas of tohu. But there's another derech, and it's a derech of not going down to cleanse the dirtied stones, but preparing stones for the crown of the king, of rectifying, of living a mindset of the future even before the future arrives, which is a perpetual hishtoikakus towards more and more goodness, but not rooted in a privation or a deficiency or a fear, but rather rooted in just a deep, deep appetite that's fundamentally aware of the fact that it can never be satisfied. Not because we're blemished or this, that, or the other thing, but because HaKadosh Baruch Hu's infinitude is so beyond our infinitude. And in that way, a person is going to live their whole life in Chuva as well. Chuva is hishtoikikus, to move from where one is at in this moment, the radical ability to shift and abstract my setting from here to there and push the entire system one step forward. That's the secret of Chuva. That's why Chuva was created before the world, because without Chuva, there is no world. Chuva is what enables the world to perpetually run higher and higher and higher, to reveal more and more and more. And this gives us a deep insight into the Torah of Rabbi Nachman that so many of us are learning now, Torah Vav, where Rabbi Nachman explains that the fundamental principle of tshuva is to do tshuva upon our tshuva, upon our tshuva, upon our tshuva. That the work of tshuva is perpetually coming to recognize that the work I did a previous moment is rectified in relationship to the previous moment, but deficient in relationship to the next moment. Not because I've done something wrong, but because in accordance with the new wisdom allotted to me based on the clarification of soul, I come into an even deeper awareness of how far I am from being able to grasp the ideal. Not because I'm not good enough to reach the ideal, but because the ideal is perpetually ascending and abstracting itself one level ahead of us, no matter how high we go. Kedushasi lamala mikdushaseichem. The more I rectify my own holiness, the higher Hashem's holiness goes. So the higher along the rungs of spiritual growth I go up, so too the fixed Archimedean point of the system, which is the infinite light's expression in the system itself, ascends a rung also, so that the same distance is always going to be there, except now it's being abstracted to a higher and higher level. Odio tertov, odio tertov. That deficiency, that chisaron, that perpetuality of yearning, the impossibility of grasping the end, is not meant to be some reflection of some post-structuralist, post-modern, post-traumatic symptom. It's idealistic in the fact that it's representative of an unfathomably infinite God that is still related to us in spite of the fact that we cannot grasp him fundamentally. And so we have to perpetually do tshuva on tshuva, not because we didn't do good enough. There's enough reasons to claim why we're not able to do good enough. We want more and more good. We want more and more of a hasaga, of eino milvado, of toiv hanira v'hanigla, of words of emuna, of bitachon, of feeling okay within ourselves, of chizuk, of simcha, of choosing joy, of living with a calmness wherever our minds have brought us in our circumstances, to uncover the fount of wisdom that rests embedded within the core of the mind, that nahar hayotzim eden, that place of the moichas tima'a, that's the man that we're always eating from, a goodness that's independent of anything else other than the fact that Nishmas Yisrael is in reflection of our desire to attach ourselves back to the infinite source, which is perpetually receding one step beyond us, not because there's an impoverishment, not because it's absent. Adarabba, it's just infinite in ways that we cannot even begin to fathom. And the only way to maintain a sense of self is the secret of Kedushasi Lamala Mikdushasechem. That's the derech of tshuva on tshuva, that whatever tshuva I've done, I come to the next moment of recognition and I say, Hashem, let me see you more, let me have more of you, let me believe more in you, let me be able to push on past the limit of my mind in this moment, past that sheath of emptiness, into that place of fullness, past the halal of the mind, into the Or Ein Sof, and to uncover the Rishimu, where the mind is flooded with that light that is never actually left. It's the treasure that's always buried underneath the bridge. That's the tshuva on the tshuva. That's not a tzabrachenkite. It's not a poisoned soul. It's not a sick soul. It's a joyous soul that understands that there's a perpetual yearning, which always contains within it all of the synonyms of that mournful watching and desire, and that cadence of descending down deeper into the constriction. The constriction doesn't have to be painful. Even the slightest appearance of a constriction is painful enough. It's there to motivate growth. The mania is there to be magdil v'cheshek. That's the tshuva al ha-tshuva. That's the tshuva, doing tshuva on tshuva, doing tshuva on tshuva. As opposed to thinking, okay, I did tshuva and now I have to do tshuva again because I'm still so sick. And I have to do tshuva again because I'm still so broken. No, once a person does tshuva, they can be nachshav as a tzaddik gamor. As the Heilige Rebbe Reb Zusha says, that the Mishnah says that someone who pretends to be a ganav or a liar is not going to leave this world without becoming a ganav or a liar. And the same principle applies to being a tzaddik, says the Rebbe Reb Zusha. Someone who pretends to be a tzaddik in this world is not going to leave this world without being a tzaddik. That's why Elul is gematria ki'ilu, because we can pretend to grow more and more and more and more and more. That's the avodah of tshuva for us. The Alter Rebbe uses this fundamentally. And again, the reason that Rabbi Nachman and the Alter Rebbe are unified in this point is because they're unified on all points. They're just two different ways of expressing the singularity that can't emerge any way other than the two of them in that perpetual cadence and dance of Ratzav V'Shov. But the Alter Rebbe writes in Perek Mem Zayin, gematria of Eheke and Havaya, the secret of Chuva of Eheke melting into the present-minded nature of Havaya. And he says as follows: "V'hine b'chol dor v'ador b'chol yom v'yom chayav adam liras atzmo ki'ilu hu yatsa hayom mitzrayim." Each and every generation we know, and each and every day a person has to see to it as if they themselves are leaving constriction, are leaving Mitzrayim. And Zok the Heilige Baal HaTanya, this is the element of the Yitzias HaNefesh HaElikis Mima'asar HaGuf, the ascendancy and the escape of the godly soul from within the confines and the jail-like nature of the body itself, the Mishka Dechivya, that snake-like garment that human beings and human consciousness is garbed in ever since the Chet of the Adam Harishon. Lichlal b'yichud or Ein Sof Baruch Hu, to ascend out of the constriction and to return back to that infinite light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu through engaging in Torah and doing mitzvos in a general way and a particularized way. So the Baal HaTanya is saying that the dictum that the Rambam makes so fundamentally significant for us with regards to Zecher Yetzias Mitzrayim is that not only do we have to see ourselves each and every generation leaving Mitzrayim, but each and every day we have to see ourselves leaving Mitzrayim. Each and every day we have to see ourselves as leaving Mitzrayim, just as the Arizal says that each hour has a new permutation of the Shem Havaya. Each hour has a new meaning to the Zohar HaKadosh. Everything is perpetually changing and shifting and growing and growing and growing. So the Baal HaTanya says that we have to each and every day, it's not only each and every generation do we have to leave Mitzrayim, but each and every day. And what does it mean to leave Mitzrayim for the Baal HaTanya? So we're looking in Mamre Admor Hazaken HaKatserim over here, and what Yetzias Mitzrayim means is as follows: that the ascent and the escape from within Egypt and the constriction is the transformation and the reversal of the heart that had previously been paying attention to elements of this worldliness. And it's the decision to stop, to pivot, and to turn oneself away from that focus and to place the focus of their heart completely on the machshava and the deep concentration of their mind towards Hashem, towards the Torah, without anything else being involved in it. In the middle of my engagement with something, in the middle of my mind being taken in the other direction, I can pivot, I can stop, I can refocus, I can recenter myself, and I can return. And at that moment, I exit Mitzrayim. I leave that place of the depths of the Klipos, and I enter into a place of Kedusha immediately. And at that point, the Shekhinah is resting in my mind. So we see that Yetzias Mitzrayim that has to happen each and every day is the decision to stop, recognize the fact that I have lost the script, that my mindlessness has overtaken me, and I find myself steeped in this worldliness and the loss of focus, in the confusion and the temptation of this world. And I stop and I pivot, and without any preparation whatsoever, I'm able to just gently shift my mind and escape Mitzrayim immediately by replacing the focus of my mind with matters that drag me down to this world and leaning in on the innermost central point of the mind, which is the hiskashus to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And at that point, that's Yitzias Mitzrayim. So we see that each and every day I have to leave Mitzrayim. I have to always be pulling myself out. But still, for the Baal HaTanya, based on what we've seen so far, it can still imply that first perspective, this punitive approach, that you're in Mitzrayim, you're paying attention to the wrong things, and therefore you have to pull yourself out of it. And even if you think you pulled yourself out of it, then you haven't really pulled yourself out. But when we're going to look at the Baal HaTanya now, in the final teaching that we're going to use, that's also here in Mamre Admor HaZaken, and Pesachim Daf Kuftes Zayin Amud Beis. And the Baal HaTanya is going to bring it home to reveal that it's the same exact principle as Rabbi Nachman, which is the same principle as the Arizal, especially through the lens of the Rashash, which is the perpetual ascension of levels without the necessity of descending down into true concealment, but rather realizing that the level prior to the next level is also considered concealment relative to the next level, in spite of the fact that it's a wholeness in relationship to itself. Zak the Heilige Baal HaTanya. Each and every day, a person has to see to it as if they're leaving Mitzrayim. What does Mitzrayim mean, says the Baal HaTanya? It represents the constriction and the concealment that covers over our mind, whether it's the tendency towards foreign worship or temptation or anger and destruction. That each and every person goes through this each and every day. And each and every day, a person has to leave that place of constriction. But asks the Baal HaTanya, "Ach tzarich lahaven," we have to understand. Me'acher sheyoytze mehem yoim ha'alef, eich b'yoim ha'acher choyzer v'yoytze mehem v'chulei. If I already left yesterday, and I escaped Mitzrayim yesterday, because that was what was commanded to me, then what am I escaping today? What Mitzrayim did I fall back down into today? Now, we can answer it with the old symptomatic perspective that says, no, you didn't really do it properly, but we're staying away from that. And the Baal HaTanya is not giving that answer. We have to understand what role is there in exiting Mitzrayim if I already exited. Zak the Heilige Baal HaTanya, the matter is as follows. It's based on what the Zohar HaKadosh says, that the individual from Klal Yisrael, every Jew, is mitchadesh bebechinas ha'acheres mehayom ha'avar. That we are different than we were the day before. Every moment we're different. There's a regeneration of self. There's a re-revelation of self, an unfolding of layers of self that were not revealed in the prior moment. Then in accordance with the new moment of conscious awareness, in accordance with the new revelations within the self, it's as if I'm a different person than I was the moment before. Meaning to say that the soul of the individual, if it was truly aligned in the guf, and the guf hadn't gotten polluted and fallen into that snake-like concealment of the levushim of our sense of self and perspective in this world as a result of the chet of the Eitz Hadas, so then the body and the soul would be revelatory as one, and a person would be able to live forever because the soul is an infinite thing. But as a result of the chet of Adam HaRishon, and death came into the world, and descent came into the world, and deficiency came into the world. The body has descended down to a lower level of what it was. It's no longer revelatory of the infinite light of God, but now it seems to conceal it in spite of the fact that we know that it holds it. It's just by way of concealment. As a result, lo yachul l'kabel ha'neshama mamish, we can't receive the neshama in its fullness. Ki ela al yidei eze memutza. When we receive our soul nowadays, it's only through particularized sheaths of our levush, the tselem. Parts of our souls are revealed to us each and every day. The koach that I have today is only an element, a shine, a nitzutz of what my soul's capacity is. That the neshama has very different levushim, different garments, which are referred to as the strengths of the soul that are engarbed within the body itself. And each and every day, a person has a new revelation, a new unfolding layer of a different strength of the neshama, which is infinite in comparison to the body. And it expresses itself with a new ferocity and a new intensity from the neshama into the guf each and every day, as the Zohar HaKadosh says. And we have to say to ourselves, as the Baal HaTanya, "V'tzarich lahavin ze ha'inyan ki ravu." This is the fundamental secret. This is everything. Al kain yesh lomer sheyom ha'avar hu bebechinas Mitzrayim liyom haba shabo yotzim Mitzrayim. We can say, based on this principle, that according to the level of my spiritual awareness yesterday and the moment before, it's as if I was still in a state of constriction simply because there's new levels to be revealed. Not because I've done something wrong, but there's infinite growth for me to do and more moments of positive experience, more moments of unfolding light, more moments of affirmation, more moments of kindness, more moments of patience, more moments of attunement, more moments of attention, more moments of stepping away, more moments of descending down inwards and redeeming all of existence in our own minds and hearts. Each and every day is a new opportunity. We're leaving Mitzrayim each and every day. And we've got to admit it's getting better and better. Even though I left Mitzrayim yesterday, based on my perspective today, what I left is, even after I left, I'm still considered as in Mitzrayim, because now there's new vistas revealed in front of me. And this is referred to, and this is happening forever, says the Baal HaTanya. And this is what's referred to as the tselem that's being revealed every single day from within the depths of the person's soul. This is the secret of Chuva. The secret of Chuva. So we have to grow, reveal more and more. Every moment in existence is an opportunity to encounter Kodesh HaKadoshim, to lean in past the veils of existence, past the Kuli Alma Lo Pligi, that nobody argues, that everything is concealment. We have to move through the concealment and lean into the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that whispers itself forth through the Rishimu of existence, through the Rishimu of all things in this world, and to reveal more and more of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's light. Elul is about the return of the spark to the bonfire, the return of the spark back to its source, and that's what we have to do more and more each and every moment, Be'ezras Hashem.